The flight that changed everything, the terminal was buzzing. Luggage wheels rolling, boarding announcements echoing, and a chorus of quiet panic humming in Lena Kessler's chest. She clutched her ticket like it was a lifeline. Row 1 for A. Window. Seat. First time flying, she had spent the night before watching travel vlogs, reading how not to panic on a plane articles, and pacing her friend's apartment like a marathoner, prepping for war. None of that had prepared her for the feeling of being herded through the jet bridge. The smell of pressurized air, or the sight of that long, metallic tube she was expected to sit in while it flew through the sky. She slid into her seat and immediately began fiddling with the seatbelt. It clicked, then unclicked, then twisted around itself in an act of pure betrayal. Her palms were already damp. Her heart was pacing like it wanted out. A calm voice interrupted her mental spiral. Need help with that? She looked up. The man standing in the aisle had that look, not the type you notice because he's loud or flashy, but the kind that makes time slow down. Dark, thoughtful eyes. A tailored coat slung over one arm. Jawline sharp enough to cut. Silence. But most distracting of all, he was clearly amused. Oh, yeah, sorry. Lena moved to let him in, tugging her backpack from under his seat. It jammed. Of course she pulled hard. It yanked back. She tugged again and lost balance. With an awkward flail and a whispered curse, she tipped sideways. Her shoulder bumped. His chest, her bag caught on the seatbelt. Her water bottle flung itself onto the aisle like it was trying to escape the situation, too. Wow, I'm really nailing this first impression, she mumbled. He chuckled. Don't worry, happens to the best of us. He took his seat beside her, still smiling. Lena did everything in her power not to combust. The engines hummed louder. The overhead bins locked. The safety video began playing. She wasn't watching. Her eyes were locked on her white-knuckled fingers, gripping the armrest like it was her only chance at survival. Not a fan of flying? He asked gently. Not a fan of falling, she replied. Which is basically what this is? Fair point, he said, trying not to laugh. Then came the announcement. We are now preparing for takeoff. The plane began to roll. Lena's breathing shortened. Her eyes widened. And then, with a lurch, they were airborne. That was the moment. Without thinking. Her hand shot out, not toward the armrest this time, but toward something. Softer, it took 2 seconds, maybe 3. She realized where her hand had landed. His thigh, a very specific part of it. Her brain didn't process it fast enough to stop her mouth. Oh, God. I am so sorry, she gasped, yanking her hand back like she'd touched lava. His eyebrows shot up, and then he laughed, not mockingly. But like he couldn't believe his luck. Didn't expect that on this flight, he said, adjusting his jacket. Though usually, people at least buy me coffee first. Lena's face turned a new shade of red previously unknown to science. I was panicking. I wasn't thinking, it was reflex. She rambled, hiding her face in her hands. Please, pretend this never happened. I'll consider it, he said, still grinning, depending on how the rest of the flight goes. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Her brain had packed up and exited the aircraft. For the next 10 minutes, she sat frozen, eyes glued to the window. Even though she couldn't see much beyond the wing and a blur of clouds, then turbulence hit, a sudden dip made. Her gasp. She unbuckled with trembling hands, murmured something about needing the bathroom, and bolted down the aisle. She barely registered the other passengers as she squeezed into the tiny lavatory. The mirror reflected her panic-wide eyes, flushed skin, hair sticking to her forehead. What did I do? She whispered, pressing her back to the door. Outside, David, she didn't even know his last name, was still smiling to himself, when the turbulence knocked him off balance, and then, just like fate had planned it for laughs. The lavatory door flew open. Lena yelped. He stumbled in, caught off guard, trying not to fall. She scrambled backward. Now, they were both squeezed into a space barely big enough for one person. Shoulder to shoulder, breathing the same recycled air. He braced himself against the wall, one hand brushing her waist by accident. Their eyes locked. No words, just breath. Then whisper. "This is the weirdest day of my life," she said. "Mine, too," he replied. "And I've done product launches in Tokyo during typhoons." That made her laugh, shaky, nervous, but real. Then, without warning, sought. "Stupid. Honest. If this plane goes down, I'm not dying without knowing if you kiss as well as you smile." He blinked, then leaned in. Their lips met. In a kiss that was clumsy from space, charged with adrenaline, so out of place it made perfect sense. The plane shook again. Someone knocked on the door. "Is everything all right in there?" A flight attendant called out. They broke apart, breathless. "Totally fine," David answered. Voice calm. Lena stared at him, still processing what had just happened. "Name's David, by the way," he said. "Lena," she whispered. He smiled. "Nice to meet you again." 3 days. That's how long Lena had spent convincing herself the airplane kiss didn't matter. That it was a random, once-in-a-lifetime moment between two strangers in the sky. That David, mysterious, charming, clearly out of her league, would forget her before the seatbelt signs had turned off. And she was okay with that, because this wasn't about romance. This was about her first real job, a position in the IT department of one of the biggest tech companies in the country. It's a serious job, a career starter, professional, clean slate. At least it was supposed to be. Lena stood in front of the glass building, heart thudding like a faulty hard drive. Her ID badge gleamed under the morning sun. Her curls were tamed, her blazer was pressed, and she had practiced her confident walk 10 times on the sidewalk. New city, a new job, no more turbulence, emotional or otherwise. Inside, everything felt enormous. The marble floors, the mirrored elevators, the people who walked like they belonged. Lena clutched her work bag like a shield. At the 25th floor, a receptionist directed her to the onboarding room. A small group of new hires waited, some chatting nervously, others already pretending to check emails on their phones. She joined quietly. Finding a seat near the end of the long conference table, the air smelled like fresh coffee and ambition. A woman in a pantsuit entered and smiled at the group. "Welcome, everyone. Our CEO will personally greet you in a moment." Lena nodded politely. She didn't care about the CEO. She had tech to learn, servers to manage, firewalls to admire. Then the door opened. She heard the voice first, warm, commanding, confident. "Good morning. I'm David Renner, CEO of Renner Systems. Welcome to the team."
"Oh, Julian!"
No. It couldn't be, but it was. He stepped. In looking devastatingly familiar in that perfect navy suit, his dark hair styled, his tone calm and steady. His eyes scanned the room professionally, casually until they landed on her. And then they paused. She swore he blinked twice. For a full second, nothing happened. The room continued breathing, but Lena's brain crashed. He knows. He remembers. Oh God. This is not happening. He didn't miss a beat. "Some of you will be in development, others in marketing or finance," he continued. "And a few of you will help keep our systems running smoothly at our backbone." His eyes flicked toward her again. Just for a second, her stomach twisted into a knot as he wrapped up his welcome speech. The HR assistant began calling names to assigned departments. "Lena." "Kessler," she called. Lena stood up, legs made of pudding. She walked toward the front like she was heading to her own execution. David extended his hand. "Welcome, Lena," he said. She stared at his hand like it might self-destruct. Then she took it. Warm, firm, way too familiar. "Thanks," she croaked. Barely above a whisper, his smile shifted, subtle, dangerous. "Looking forward to working with you?" Was that a wink? No, please tell her that wasn't a wink. Back in the IT department, things got worse. She was shown her desk by Lucas, a friendly systems analyst with a permanently raised eyebrow. "First day," he asked. "Is it that obvious? You've got the look, wide eyes, holding your bag like it's about to be stolen?" She smiled weakly. "That's fair."
"Howard."
She powered on her laptop and tried to focus. task lists, system checks, updates. But her thoughts kept. Drifting David, CEO, kiss bathroom. Oh God, every time someone walked past the hallway. She flinched, waiting for him to appear. Of course, eventually he did. Just as she opened a report, a shadow loomed. She looked up. "Excuse me," he said smoothly, standing in the doorway. "Just checking. Are the chairs here comfortable?" Lucas blinked. The chairs? David didn't look at him. His eyes were on her. "Ergonomics," he added with a small smile. "Very important." Lena nearly choked on her breath. "Yes, totally. Comfortable," she said. He nodded. "Good, carry on." And just like that, he was gone again. Lucas looked at her. "What was that?" "It's no idea," she lied, cheeks burning. The rest of the day passed in slow motion until Lena did something irrational. She opened the network dashboard and saw his name on the system list. David Renner, CEO, device active. Without thinking, she clicked, disconnected. Her stomach dropped. What did I just do? The office phone rang. She stared. Caller ID, David Renner. She picked up slowly. "IT support, Lena," he said, voice low, amused. "Looks like I've lost my connection. Any idea why?" Her mouth went dry. "No, that's odd." "I can. Come check. Please do." She grabbed her laptop and headed to the top floor, heart pounding. His office was sleek, floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, a shelf full of books she'd probably never understand. He opened the door and stepped aside. "Come in," he said. She tried not to trip. "Internet trouble," she mumbled. Setting her laptop down, he leaned against the edge of his desk, arms crossed, watching her work. "You seem nervous," he said. "I'm new. I always look nervous." He smiled. "Or maybe you're remembering that kiss." She stopped typing, her breath caught. He stepped closer. "It's okay. I remember it too." She looked up wide-eyed. "I thought you'd forgotten." "Tried." They stared at each other. Then he stepped back, letting the moment pass. "Well?" "Thanks for fixing my internet," he said. "All business again." Lena nodded, gathering her things. "Anytime." As she walked toward the door, he added, "Well, you're doing great." She smiled, then fled. Behind her, David chuckled softly. "Most interesting employee I've ever hired," he thought. Lena stared at her screen, trying to stay calm. But nothing about the blinking red alerts on her monitor looked calm. Lines of code were flying faster than she could process. Each one a warning, each one a threat. Unauthorized access. Multiple IP. Attempts. Confidential file requests. This wasn't a glitch. This was a real-time cyber attack happening now, aimed at the company's core servers, and Lena was sitting right in front of it. "Lucas," she called out to the analyst across from her. "Yeah," he replied, still chewing his breakfast. "Bar, we've got a breach. External, coordinated, and they're targeting the secure folders." His eyes widened, and in seconds he was at her side, looking over her shoulder. "No way," he muttered. "They're trying to break into the finance vault. That has project blueprints, legal docs, patents, contracts." "Yeah." "I know," Lena finished. Already typing, her fingers moved on instinct. She didn't have time to panic. Not now. 3 more analysts rushed over, seeing the alert light. Up across their screens. "Should we alert security?" "No," Lena said firmly. "We've got to isolate the breach before it spreads." She activated the elevated admin panel. There were only a few people in the company who had access to this level of clearance. Lena had it. Thanks to a security exam she aced on her first day, one of the guys leaned in. "Can you shut it down?" "Can't shut everything down, but I can reroute and trace it." Her voice was steady, but her pulse was thunder in her ears. It was happening too fast. Come on," she muttered. "Don't you dare take down my system today." In a flash of intuition, she saw a pattern. They're using a fake IP tunnel from Norway, but their origin node is bouncing through Indonesia. I can break the chain. How do you know that? Lucas whispered. Lena didn't answer. She was too deep in. She launched a firewall protocol, sealed off the vulnerable ports, and started flooding the tunnel with junk packets, a smokescreen. Taught you this stuff? Lucas asked in disbelief. Lena finally replied, My ex was a black hat. I watched, learned. Everyone stared at her for a second. That's terrifying, Lucas said. I know, she nodded. But helpful today. Within 3 minutes, the red alerts began to slow. The access attempts dropped. The firewall blocked the final wave, and the attackers were locked out. Lena slumped back in her chair, hands trembling. We're clear. For now, there was silence, and then applause. The IT floor, usually quiet as a library, broke into spontaneous clapping. Even the grumpiest server guy gave her a nod. Lucas shook his head. You just saved the entire company, do you know? That, Lena took a breath, smiled faintly, and replied, I think I need coffee. Before she could take a step, her internal desk phone lit up again. Caller ID, David Renner. She picked up. Lena, he said, voice calm but serious. Come to my office now. She barely had time to breathe before she was standing in front of the CEO's door again. The same door she'd entered 2 days ago, pretending his internet had failed. Only this time, it wasn't a game. David opened the door and stepped back. His expression was unreadable. She stepped inside. Close it, he said softly. The door clicked shut behind her. I just got off a call with our data compliance board, he began, walking to the desk. They said an attack was detected, traced, blocked, and backed up in under 5 minutes. Lena stood still. Yes, that was me. He turned slowly, looking at her like she was something entirely different now. Did anyone help you? She shook her head. The others started too, but I asked them to let me handle it. I had a window of less than 90 seconds. Time for votes. He stared for a moment. You understand that data block is worth more than 5 years of our company's public revenue, right? I figured it was important, she said, then added awkwardly, so I panicked. Productively, a beat passed. Then David chuckled, running a hand through his hair. Of all the people in this company, he murmured, the one I kissed in an airplane bathroom is the one who saves my entire tech division. I didn't plan that part, Lena said quickly, blushing. Apparently, neither did I, he admitted. He moved closer, but I won't lie, I'm impressed. That was genius. She tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Thanks. Then, silence, but not uncomfortable this time, just full. I thought I was going to forget about you after that flight, he said. I even tried. She gave a weak laugh. I thought the same. I literally ran off the plane like a criminal. Ain't noticed. Their eyes met. David moved a step closer. I don't mix business with feelings, he said quietly. I have rules. A reputation. Good, Lena whispered. Because I don't do feelings either. I fix servers. I don't. Date bosses. More silence. But I can't stop thinking about you, he admitted. Her breath hitched. Same.
Maybe.
He said slowly. We forget titles. Just for a second. And then. Then I thank the person who saved everything I've worked for. Not as a CEO. Just as someone who sees her. All of her. She blinked. Her heart stumbled. And then, he leaned in. Not a reckless kiss this time. Not panic. This was real, measured, warm, like all the sparks from the plane. Only now, with intention, his hand rested gently on her waist. She responded this time, without running, without fear. When they finally pulled apart, he smiled. Still, scared of flying? Little she breathed. Well, he said, good thing you landed right here.